apathy is it good is it bad หลายๆคนอาจจะมีความรู้สึกว่าการที่เราไม่อยากเข้าไปยุ่งไม่อยากแสดงความเห็นไม่อยากทวีตเรื่องนี้ไม่อยากแสดงตัวว่ามีจุดยืนอย่างไรเพราะหลายๆครั้งเราไม่อยากวุ่นวายกับดราม่า
There's a fine line between being neutral and being apathetic
ทำตามมาตรฐานต่ำสุดที่จะไม่โดนไล่ออกก็คือจ้างมาทำสิ่งนี้ก็ทำแล้วไงแต่ไม่ทำมากกว่านี้
It's not ignorant it's just stupid
A person could be very apathetic in relationship as well right
Yeah so someone who's emotionally unavailable their emotions aren't available you know
ตัวอยู่นะกายหยาบอยู่แต่กายละเอียดไม่อยู่ท้อ If you don't stand for something you will fall for anything Welcome to Talk Native episode 7 My name is Vic from Comedy The Standard Candy
And my name is Christine from RELO, which is the Regional English Language Office at the U.S. Embassy.
Hi, Christine.
Hi, Vic.
How's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm great.
Good.
So, the other day, I was listening to this podcast, and then I came across this interesting word. So, I want to discuss with you on this episode about that word. So, this podcast is called No Stupid Questions. It's one of my favorites. Just go check it out. So they were talking about what would be the 8 deadly sins. So originally they have 7, right? So they were trying to come up with the 8. What if we want to add one more to the list? What would that be? ใครๆอาจจะเคยได้ยินเรื่องเกี่ยวกับบาป7ประการที่มันมีหลายๆอย่างที่เขาว่ากันนะครับมีความขี้เกียจมีความโกรธมีความหยิ่งอะไรต่างๆแล้วเขาก็มาคุยกันในพอดแคสต์นี้ว่าถ้าเกิดจะเพิ่มบาปประการที่8ลงไปมันควรจะเป็นอะไรดี so that's how that word came up so one of them they say maybe it should be apathy that's the word so I think it's pretty interesting. Yeah. So first of all, what does apathy mean?
Well, apathy is basically when you don't care. You don't have an opinion really because you don't care. You know that something is a problem, but it's not your problem and you don't care.
It's like not caring about anything at all.
Exactly.
Yeah. And they said it could be one of the deadly sins. What do you think about that?
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Because apathy is all about not doing anything. And usually sinning is about something bad that you do, right?
Right.
And so this is about not doing. So that's really interesting.
So would you have any problem with the apathetic people? Like maybe someone in your life is super apathetic and you see that as problems?
I mean, as a teacher, I must say from time to time, I find apathetic students, right, who don't care about their grades or don't care about what they're learning. So I think every teacher can relate to that in some way. Yes.
Yeah. And do you think it's a sin level for this word? Or it's not so much of a sin?
I don't think it's wise.
Okay.
Especially if it's about your own life.
Yeah.
If you don't care about your own life or your own future or situation, that's quite stupid.
Right. Yeah.
But I think when it's about other people, like when I, see people suffering around the world and I see countries or people or leaders who just do nothing, and they have the means, they have what they need to help, then I think on that level, yes, it is sinful, if you want to think of it like that.
Okay.
We've gotten so religious, Vic.
So I found the examples of apathy or apathetic situation. Like the apathetic student didn't even bother to show up for the final exam. So super apathetic, right?
Yes.
Apathetic employee didn't seem to care about his job at all. Or apathetic politician didn't seem to have any real interest in helping people he represents. So that's the kind of apathy that we're talking about. Yeah. But the reason I want to talk to you about this word is that maybe apathy is not so much sinful for a lot of people because sometimes they just don't have opinions to voice or maybe they just don't want to get into something that is bothersome for them or they don't want to get into dramas that's why they try to stay away from like voicing their opinions or taking action in anything หลายๆคนอาจจะมีความรู้สึกว่าการที่เราไม่อยากเข้าไปยุ่งไม่อยากแสดงความเห็นไม่อยากทวีตเรื่องนี้ไม่อยากแสดงตัวว่ามีจุดยืนอย่างไรเพราะหลายๆครั้งเราไม่อยากวุ่นวายกับดราม่าเราไม่ได้อยากแสดงจุดยืนซึ่งจะนำมาซึ่งความปวดหัวหรือหลายๆคนอาจจะบอกว่าในเมื่อเรายังไม่มีความเห็นที่ชัดเจนเรายังไม่มีหลักฐานเรายังไม่มีความรู้เราไม่พูดดีกว่า A lot of people might say that the reason they're not speaking up or speaking out about some topics is that because they don't have enough information about it or they like I said don't want to get into dramas so if we think of apathy this way maybe it's not that wrong
Right. I mean, I think, you don't always know why someone is speaking out or why they're not speaking out. I don't think it's fair to judge them and say, oh, they're apathetic because you don't know. Maybe, like you said, maybe they don't have the information. Maybe they feel like they don't have a voice. Maybe they have some strong opinions, but don't feel like they can speak up.
Okay.
Or
like it's not their place to say anything.
Yeah, or maybe they feel like if they do say something, there will be some kind of backlash or consequence. So there's many reasons why someone might stay silent. And so it's not fair to judge someone who is silent and say, oh, they're apathetic. But it doesn't mean that some people who are silent aren't apathetic.
Yeah.
I mean, it certainly exists,
right.
for sure.
Yeah. So there's another word that is like being neutral. I'm neutral about this issue. That's why I don't vote either side or that's why I don't speak of the topic because I'm neutral. I don't want to say anything at all. So maybe in social issue or in politics, we hear this word a lot. What do you think about being neutral?
Yeah, that's tough. I think there's a fine line between being neutral and being apathetic. I do think there is a difference, but they get blurry. I think sometimes it's hard to tell the difference. But I do think it is possible to be neutral on a situation
right.
Or an issue, for sure.
They say here neutral individuals can still show interest or concern and engagement in understanding the various viewpoints and facts surrounding a matter. So maybe someone who's neutral can still show interest. Like they're not just doing nothing and trying to stay away as far as they can, right?
They're working to understand both sides of the issue. And sometimes there are issues in life where like, well, I agree with both, really. And I disagree with both. That is possible. It's absolutely possible. And that's what makes life hard.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not all black and white all the time at all. But there's a big difference between that and someone who just is like, la, 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 I don't want to hear anything, just because they don't want to deal with it. There's a big difference.
So let's go into another area, which is work. Like in the workplace, if someone is apathetic about their work, what would that mean?
That means they come to work, they go through the motions, they do the things they're supposed to do,
or assigned to.
But kind of the bare minimum of that. And they don't really care if it's successful or not. They're really just not, this person has lost their motivation, I think, at work, if they're apathetic about their work.
I think of the word like quiet quitting that we keep hearing a lot nowadays. I think the word bare minimum that you just mentioned is pretty interesting. Bare minimum ก็คือทำตามมาตรฐานต่ำสุดที่จะไม่โดนไล่ออกก็คือจ้างมาทำสิ่งนี้ก็ทำแล้วไงแต่ไม่ทำมากกว่านี้แล้วก็อย่ามาคาดหวังให้ทำมากกว่านี้เพราะว่านี่ก็ทำงานเท่ากับที่ได้รับค่าจ้างแล้วนะนั่นคือแบบ bare minimum จริงๆจะไม่ทำอะไรที่ดีไปกว่านี้หรือว่ายากลำบากไปกว่านี้เลย so that could be a form of apathy in workplace also like quiet quitting.
Yeah. So quiet quitting, basically you're like saying, well, I don't technically quit, but motivation wise, I quit.
motivation wise
I'm not going to wear your t-shirt. I'm not drinking the company Kool-Aid. Like, no.
Yeah.
There's
nothing extra
No,
just
nothing
what I was
extra.
hired to do
Yeah.
and I'm gonna go home
And I think, I can be neutral on this topic, really,
Okay.
with quiet quitting, because I think initially this term came from someone who was saying, I'm not going to give up my whole life for my job. And I want work-life balance. I'm not going to work all weekend. I'm not going to work 60 hours a week when you would fire me tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I think that's where this term was born out of. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think it has evolved probably into something else at this point. And it does seem like it's becoming, tied to this idea of an apathetic attitude of just not caring, which is just not fun. I mean, I don't want to go to a job that I don't care about. That sounds painful and boring.
Of course not yeah
So I feel for apathetic people. I'm like, what's wrong? Why? What happened? How did you lose your spark?
True. So there's a problems that haven't been solved or that haven't been like taken care of. But once we fix that problem, maybe everything's back to normal and we can stop being apathetic.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe get to the root cause of, why do they have this attitude?
Yeah.
And maybe that's something that companies need to ask themselves too, if they feel like they have a lot of quiet quitters in their office. What's going on? How do we motivate our employees?
Yeah. Let's talk about relationship because a person could be very apathetic in relationship as well, right?
Absolutely.
What would that look like?
I think of an apathetic person in a relationship is someone who just doesn't want to go very deep. Whether that's with positive feelings like love and affection, or even with negative things that might come up, like if the couple has an issue or a problem, which every couple does, right? So I think of an apathetic partner as someone who just doesn't want to deal with the hard stuff. It's like, okay, do we have to talk about this? Can't we just watch a movie? Pretend like it's okay, or like, let's just go for a walk. Do we really have to deal with this? So that's what I think of in terms of apathy in a relationship.
I heard of the word emotionally unavailable. Do you think that's the same thing? Like, you don't want to talk about things that would upset you, or you don't want to support your partner emotionally, whether it be a negative or positive thing whatsoever. Yeah,
so someone who's emotionally unavailable, their emotions aren't available. So
like they're here, like physically, but
not
inside
emotionally.
here, no.
You can't connect. It's like, on the surface, on the outside, everything looks fine, but like there's no real deep, true connection because they just don't want to go there. Whether it's with a positive feeling or a negative feeling, it's like, nope, I'm a robot. I stay neutral.
I'm comfortable like this, so
yeah,
don't let me deal with like emotional stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Don't upset me.
Yeah.
Don't get me too excited. Don't, none of it. It's just like, I'm here. I live here.
มันคือคำว่า emotionally unavailable นึกถึงคำว่า available ซึ่งก็แปลว่าไปหาใครสักคนแล้วเขาอยู่แล้วเขาว่างให้เวลากับเรานั่นคือเขา available ใช่ไหมครับ unavailable ก็คือไม่อยู่หรือไม่ว่างแต่ emotionally ก็คือตัวอยู่นะกายหยาบอยู่แต่กายละเอียดไม่อยู่ไม่ดิวด้วยในเรื่องเกี่ยวกับอารมณ์ไม่ต้องมาตื่นเต้นดีใจไม่ต้องมาแสดงความรักใคร่อะไรกันมากมายขี้เกียจรำคาญเบื่อเหนื่อยกับการดิวกับดราม่ากับการว่ามีเรื่องอีกแล้วเหรอดูทีวีกันเฉยๆได้ไหมนั่นคือคนที่ emotionally unavailable หรือว่า apathetic นะครับใน relationship หรือว่าในความสัมพันธ์ก็หน้าตาเป็นแบบนี้คิดว่าหลายๆคนอาจจะมีความรู้สึกว่าก็รู้สึกว่ามันก็เป็นแบบนี้เหมือนกันใน relationship แต่ว่าหลายๆคนจะคิดว่าก็อยู่กันมาตั้งนานแล้วก็เฟดกันไปบ้าง a lot of people might say that it's bound to happen anyway for especially someone who spend their life together in a relationship for so long so these things might fade so maybe that's normal what do you think
Yeah, I mean, I think especially, a couple that's been together for 30, 40, 50 years, you have found ways to just suck it up and move on. You don't have to talk about everything.
Right.
You have an understanding a lot of times. It may not always be a healthy one. Who knows? Every relationship's different. But I think, over time, you figure each other out. You learn more about each other, what works, what doesn't, what each person needs, and things like that. So, hopefully, that need to really dig in deep.
Yeah, connection,
fades.
right?
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants connection. But sometimes we do find that connection through hard things. And it's not always an easy road, but most of the time you're better coming out of it than you were going in.
Yeah ใครเคยเจอแบบนี้บ้างหรือว่าใครกำลังประสบอะไรแบบนี้อยู่บ้างหรือแม้แต่คุณเองรู้สึกว่าคุณเป็นแบบนี้ใน relationship ลองแชร์เรื่องราวเอาไว้หน่อยว่าทางฝั่งคุณเนี่ยมีเรื่องราวอย่างไรหรือว่าคิดอย่างไรนะครับอันนี้ไม่มีการตัดสินว่าถูกหรือผิดนะเราเข้าใจว่ามันอาจจะเกิดขึ้นได้แต่ทีนี้เกิดขึ้นแล้วยังไงเพราะว่าสิ่งหนึ่งที่สำคัญสำหรับทุกคู่ก็คือเรื่อง connection ถ้าสมมุติเกิดเราไม่รู้สึกว่าเชื่อมต่อกันอยู่เลยอาจจะเป็นปัญหาได้นะครับไม่เกี่ยวข้องกับอยู่กันมานานแค่ไหนแล้วนะแต่ว่า connection นั้นเนี่ยมันยังอยู่หรือเปล่านะครับ Let's talk about another big issue here these days environment so someone could be very apathetic towards the environment issue
Yes. I would say that's humanity's number one problem right now is the apathy that the world feels towards the environment.
Does it equal to like being ignorant?
Not exactly.
Okay.
If you're ignorant about something, you just don't have information about it. You just don't know about it.
Okay.
Whereas if you're apathetic, you know, but you don't care.
Oh, that sounds even worse, right? Yeah.
I mean, ignorance is not someone's fault. If they don't have access to that information, that's not necessarily their fault.
Yeah.
But apathy, especially towards the environment, it's not ignorant. It's just stupid.
Because this could cause problem if you don't do anything about it.
Yes.
But you choose not to do anything about it.
Still, you're buying loads and loads of plastic bottles every month. So you have drinking water where you could just buy the big jug and get it refilled. Things like that. It's like, but you just don't care.
All right.
And I find this is a scary, scary problem because this doesn't just affect you. It affects everybody across the world. And I find it incredibly frustrating, people's apathy about the environment. Not that I am perfect at all.
Yeah.
None of us are. But I think there is a general lack of consciousness about the environment. It's a problem that is, but that won't really affect me in my lifetime. Pretty sure it already is, but it will definitely affect your children and your grandchildren. And I think when people really think of it that way, it changes their tune a little bit. At least I hope so. Because we can't get another Earth. Our planet is pretty awesome, in my opinion. Sometimes I feel kind of goofy, but I'll be like, I just love Earth. Like, what if I was born on Mars? Like, how terrible would that be? Like, have everything just be rocks and like.
You've got great things here. So,
I know it's wonderful. Like we have like such a cool planet. Let's not mess it up, okay? I don't want to live on Mars.
Yeah, I think this could be a very interesting topic to discuss with each other. Like apathy. Is it good? Is it bad? How good could it be in some situation? How bad could it get if we choose not to do anything at all? If we choose not to care? I think this could be a wonderful topic to just discuss among yourselves. Yeah. So let's show our audience a little. How would they use it? Like in like everyday conversation.
Sure.
You could say what, for example?
So apathy itself is a noun. It's an idea, right? So if you use it as a noun, you might say something like, I tried to engage my friends in a discussion about climate change, but their apathy towards the environment was disheartening.
Oh, disheartening. That's a good word too. What does it mean?
Oh, disheartening. It's like, I think of it like it hurts my heart. Like it was so disappointing that it was like almost heartbreaking
โอเคประมาณว่าท้ออะความไม่แยแสของเพื่อนในเรื่องสิ่งแวดล้อมไม่ว่าจะชวนคุยในเรื่องแบบ climate change หรืออะไรใดๆเพื่อนก็ยังไม่หือไม่อือใดๆไม่แคร์ไม่สนอะไรเลยมันเป็นความรู้สึกที่แบบโหโคตรท้อเลยมันรู้สึกเซ็งในจิตใจมากๆนะครับนั่นก็คือตัวอย่างการใช้ apathy as a noun so we can also use apathy in the adjective form
yes
okay
and in the adjective form it would be apathetic so if someone is apathetic they behave with apathy right so for example you might say the company's apathetic response to customer complaints led to a decline in their reputation and business.
And they totally deserve it.
Yeah.
If that's what they do. การที่เราไม่สนใจถ้าเกิดเราเป็นแบรนด์เราเป็นบริษัทนะครับเราเป็นผู้ขายสินค้าแต่ว่าคำบ่นของลูกค้าการติการอะไรต่างๆของลูกค้าที่มาเราไม่สนใจเลยไม่แคร์ฉันจะทำของฉันอย่างนี้ไปนะครับสักวันหนึ่งเนี่ยมันอาจจะเกิดการเสื่อมถอยลงของไม่ว่าจะยอดขายไม่ว่าจะชื่อเสียงใดๆนั่นก็คือผลพวงอันหนึ่งซึ่งอาจจะเกิดขึ้นได้ถ้าคุณมี apathy ต่อเรื่องของ response ก็คือเสียงตอบรับจากลูกค้านะครับ so that's a cool way to use apathy and apathetic in a sentence
Absolutely
yeah
yes
all right so we should end this episode with a cool quote.
Oh,
Actually,
everyone
I've
ends
got
with
two.
a quote, right?
Yeah. I've got this one. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything.
Definitely.
So that's a kind of the play on words like stand and fall. Right? When you stand, ยืนใช่ไหมครับ fall คือล้ม But in like the idiom way, like figurative meaning of it doesn't mean like literally stand and fall
No.
okay so what does this quote mean
So in this case, stand means like stand up for something. So for example, you show your support. Like if you stand, okay, this month is Pride Month, right?
Right.
So if you stand up for gay rights, then you say, yes, I support this. Maybe through your vote for a certain candidate or legislation or whatever it might be. Or maybe through financial support for an organization, but you take a stand. Even through in a conversation maybe that you have with somebody and you say, and you stand up and support something. So that's what stand for means.
so you say it and you act on it too
Exactly.
okay that's basically standing for something or standing up for something
Yes.
okay
So if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. So if you fall for something, that means you have been tricked almost. You have been brainwashed or convinced that something that is actually bad is good. Or let's say, for example, if you fall for someone's lie,
yeah
right? If someone tells you a lie and says, yes, you have just won the lottery. Go and collect your money right now at the bank. And you go to the bank ready with your bag to put your money in.
Yeah.
And then they're like, what are you talking about? Like, no.
yeah
Of course
you
didn't.
fell for it
Yeah, you fell for it. Exactly.
so you
you've
got
been
tricked
Yeah.
คำแปลง่ายๆเลยก็คือ ถ้าคุณไม่มีจุดยืน คุณก็จะถูกลากจูงไปในทางไหนได้อย่างง่ายมากเลย คุณไม่มีจุดยืนในเรื่องอะไรก็ตามทีไม่รู้ว่ากับสิ่งแวดล้อมเรามีจุดยืนว่าอะไรเราเชื่ออะไรเราไม่เชื่ออะไรการเมืองเรามีจุดยืนไหมในเรื่องศาสนาเรามีจุดยืนไหมเรื่องสังคมเรามีจุดยืนไหมถ้าเราไม่มีจุดยืนอะไรเลยเราจะถูกลากจูงไปทางไหนก็ได้ง่ายมากแล้วเราก็อาจจะถูกหลอกถูกล้างสมองได้ง่ายมากนั่นคือความหมายของ if you don't stand for something you will fall for anything นะครับ and the other one is from Martin Luther King Jr. Okay
Yeah, this is one of my favorite quotes
Yeah.
from Dr. King. And I think it's really connected to apathy. He once said, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter.
so begin to end so it's a start of your like ending
Yeah.
the day we become silent about things that matter so basically you should be aware of what is important and you should not be silent about it
Yeah, sometimes we have to speak out. We have to say, hey, no, this is wrong. This is not okay.
Okay.
Right? We have to stand up for something. And I think, if apathy takes control to the point that you just don't care and are silent, your silence is not silent. Your silence makes a difference. It does. By being silent, you are saying something.
Yeah.
And that is that it's okay. Or I don't care.
But I think the thing is to take a stand or to choose to not stay silent about something has various forms. You don't have to do what you see on TV, like people on the street and like with their signs and try to shout or yell out something. Maybe that's not your way. You can choose to speak up for things or stand up for things in your own way too, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, some people, they're loud and proud, and that's good. Hey, go out. We need people to go out in the street sometimes, but we also need other people to be calm and to be able to sit and have a calm conversation with someone from an opposite viewpoint.
Sure.
That's really important too.
Yeah.
Or maybe we need someone to help donate money if you have the means to do that. Everybody can help and stand up, like you said, in a different way. It doesn't have to be that one image, that comes to mind.
Yeah. So maybe today you might feel after listening to this episode that, I've been apathetic all this time and I want to change. And I decide to do something about it. I think you can take your time and you can just do some research about what you can help and how.
Yeah.
ลองคิดดูหาวิธีของคุณเองถ้าสมมุติเกิดคุณรู้สึกว่าเฮ้ยเราเงียบเรื่องนี้มากเกินไปแล้วเราไม่จำเป็นจะต้องออกไปชูป้ายแล้วก็ตะโกนประท้วงเหมือนกับที่เราเคยเห็นแล้วรู้สึกว่าถ้าเกิดไม่ apathetic คือต้องทำอย่างนั้นสินะไม่จำเป็นนะครับอาจจะมีหลายวิธีที่เราสามารถจะทำได้เพื่อแสดงว่าเราจะไม่เงียบกับเรื่องที่สำคัญอีกแล้วอย่างที่ดร.มาร์ติน ลูเทอร์ คิงเอาไว้นะครับว่าเราไม่ควรจะ silent about things that matter I'm really happy about today's episode.
Me too.
Yeah, we kind of talk about something that matters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. By talking about this word apathy. So yes, thank you for your word today. That was a great idea.
Yeah. So maybe we should ask our audience to share.
Yeah. What would you like them to share?
Okay, I'm asking you. What do you think they could share in the comment section on this episode?
Maybe we could talk about the environment because that is such an important issue. Maybe people could share ways, little things that they could do to protect the environment, things you could do on a daily basis, like little habits you could change here and there to make us all a little less apathetic about the environment.
Yeah. ไม่ว่าจะเป็นเรื่องราวในแง่มุมไหนของชีวิตวันนี้เราลองนำเสนอ4ด้านนะครับไม่ว่าจะเป็นเรื่องสังคมการเมืองก็ได้ความสัมพันธ์ก็ได้การงานก็ได้หรือว่าจะเป็นเรื่องเกี่ยวกับสิ่งแวดล้อมในระดับโลกคุณสามารถจะเลือกเล่าให้เราฟังได้หมดเลยว่าคุณได้ส่งเสียงหรือได้ทำอะไรสักอย่างที่แสดงให้เห็นว่าเราจะไม่อยู่นิ่งเฉยกับประเด็นที่คุณคิดว่าเป็นประเด็นสำคัญบ้างแชร์ไว้เลยได้ในคอมเมนต์เซกชันข้างล่างนะครับ